Dance, tell me who got a flow like God.
What's up, world? What is happening? We are in another installment of Cuttin Up. They said it couldn't be done, man, but here we are. You know what I mean?
Right.
And of course,
Hey.
I have to my left the very lovely Lady SDOT Lee. Lady S, how you feeling?
What's going on, y'all? You know, as always, beautiful. It's a great day.
Always, you look like it's a great day.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Glowing
Listen, I glow from the inside. You know?
Somebody got this. Somebody got their stimulus.
Indeed, yeah.
Stimulus money.
Yeah, got that stimulus smile.
Two times.
Call that stimulus smile. There you go.
And then last but not least, well, excuse me, not last but next.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm so used to saying last but not
because
least.
he's the last one.
Right.
He's not hating.
You know what I mean? We got before I announce you, sir. You're looking very dapper today.
Yo, man, I see you the best, man.
I see you.
I saw y'all like showing out and stuff, and like you got the necklaces, she got the hair stuff. Playing how to get a life together.
Yeah, you don't have the soul hippie thing going on like normal, man.
See, I thought there was more soul hippie. I actually was like feeling the more soul hippie thing going on.
Yeah,
you
thought
real
we were
debonair this time.
Yeah, you thought we were doing a music
you
video.
Fly.
It's not a music video, but you look good though. You look
90s
smooth.
R&B.
You look good.
I got a 90s R&B.
You got the 90s
I got the 90s
R&B.
R&B.
Maybe like 2002.
The Lord is good when you get the 90s R&B.
But of course, as
time.
usual, for those of you that's listening and not watching us, we got Rob Covington in the building.
What's
Yes.
up, my friends? Welcome to the show.
You feeling good?
It's feeling great, bro.
It's a
been
special
a good
day.
week. Yeah, it's been
It's a
really
special
is.
day.
It's been real special, man.
And now I get to say last,
Oh, yeah.
but not least, the man you're looking at, it's the man of the hour, our special super VIP guest. We have celebrities and everything, but this man to me is one of the most important guests
Indeed.
that we've had and probably will have.
Yeah.
So can I announce Chief Donny Williams in the building?
Yes.
Chief Donny Williams, y'all.
Thank you
doing,
for
Mr.
having me.
Yes.
Of
Thank you for
course.
being here.
Man, thank you.
We
Taking out that
appreciate
time.
Look at my dapper dress that I have on.
I like it.
You like that?
Yeah, because you're
Smooth.
solid. Yeah.
Smooth. The boss is in the building.
You got to
so-
coordinate.
Yeah, workout.
Yeah,
Right,
okay.
right,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I thought you looked a little pumped
See,
up.
this only comes from push-ups.
Push-ups. Yeah, that's all push-ups.
That's all
Yeah.
push-ups right there.
I knew that.
Yeah, I've been to like 350 today, and my chest don't even sound like that.
Yeah, I know. Got to bench more, brother. You get there.
There you go.
You want that sound.
I see.
That's
So, of course, it's an honor to have you here. And for those of you that don't know, Chief Williams is the new Chief of Police of Wilmington, North Carolina.
And man, I feel like that needs a hand
It
clap.
needs a
That's
big round
amazing,
of
man.
applause.
Like,
Thank you.
Big round of
Thank you.
applause.
That's huge.
If you know this city, you know how hard this man had to work to get to that
Oh, yeah.
position. And so he is the top cop, and I'm sure he's earned every bit of it. So
Right.
thank you for being here. And we're not going to hold you up too long because I know you've been, handling business. You're running a whole police department in the city, so you're probably ready to go home, kick your feet up.
Yeah.
And you deserve to. But we're glad to have you here, and we just want to, let the world get a chance to meet you. I know you've been doing interview after interview.
Right.
You had to deal with an incident here with 3 police officers that were asked to leave the force due to some misconduct, we'll call it.
Yes.
Some racial misconduct. So you've talked to a million people about that, so we're not going to keep dragging you down that lane. We're more interested in Chief Williams, the person. Can you tell us a little bit about just where you're from and what your climb up to the position that you're in now, what that took, and, just some advice for everyone out there listening as well?
Absolutely. I'm a native of this city. I was born, I ain't going to tell you when, but it was a while ago.
Yeah, 25 years ago.
Let's say 25 years ago. And I actually went through the school system here in the New Hanover County school system, and I got to give the New Hanover County school system a shout out because it sometimes takes a beating, but it is a great school system. It was good to me.
Good.
At an early age, I decided I wanted to be a Wilmington police officer. I actually grew up in public housing, and there were 3 officers that worked that community, and they had a great impact on me when I was a child. Matter of fact, the first field trip that I went on outside of the city of Wilmington, I went with the Wilmington Police Department. And that's going to be a shout out to retired Sergeant Thad Waddell and the late Sergeant Gerald Lincoln.
All right.
Man.
And then there was a 3rd police officer, Bruce Hickman, who was a K-9 officer. And growing up in Creekwood, I saw those guys, and they just did a lot with the community. And of course, I became a rebellious teenager at one point. I went through the rebellion years.
The chief.
The chief. And what slowed me down is I got in a real bad accident. I almost lost my left leg, and that caused me to rethink some things. And about that time, that's when open air drug markets were starting to hit Wilmington real heavy, and a lot of people were getting caught up in the drug game. So I needed to make some decisions. Am I going to sell drugs? Will I do what's right? And back then they had what's called the Summer Youth Job Program. And I ended up getting a summer youth job at the police department.
Oh, wow.
In the chief at the time, Darryl Bristol's office. And I impressed Chief Bristol, and he was like, if you go back, finish your senior year of high school, I have a job for you in the cadet program. I was like, yeah, right.
Now, was that something you were like dreaming of at the time, or you just never even imagined that?
Well, I told a counselor that I was interested in law enforcement, the summer youth counselor, so they purposely placed me in the police department.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And most kids they would place in the police department, they would work with housekeeping, but for some reason they put me in the office of the chief. And his secretary. Yeah, his secretary at the time, she took me under her wing. She taught me business dress, how to answer the phone, etiquette, how to deal with folks. And again, by the end of the summer, I had impressed him, and he challenged me. He was like, you finish high school, you're in my cadet program.
Wow.
And at first I was like, yeah, okay, we'll see. So I went back and finished high school, called him up. I was in the cadet program.
Nice.
Wow.
That's
And
awesome.
I stayed in the cadet program for 2 years. And back then you had to be 21 to be a police officer. I had a problem. I was only 20 and a half. So the department went ahead and hired me at 20 and a half, sent me to basic law enforcement training. I completed the training. I was done, had all my uniforms, everything. One problem, still wasn't 21. I was like, dang. So on my 21st birthday in December, I was sworn in as a Wilmington police officer.
Wow.
Oh, all right.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
December, man.
That's
Yep.
amazing. And for those of you watching or listening, if you don't know Wilmington, because I started my career, I'm not originally from Wilmington, but I moved after high school and discovered Wilmington had a film community and a movie studio, and that they were shooting films here and whatnot. And so that's how I got into film in Wilmington. So Wilmington always has a special place in my heart. And but for those of you that don't live here and you don't know about this area, Creekwood is one of the I guess you call it a project.
It is public
Yeah.
housing.
Public housing
Yeah.
areas. And anybody, because I also grew up in a project and trailer parks and everything else, and we struggle. So it's really always interesting for me to see someone with a story like yours, where almost similar at one point, but I eventually go into films. I was running around in the streets, and you guys have seen me before, and once or twice, back in the day, way back. But I had to correct my path also, and figure out what I really wanted to be in life. And so, I went to my passion, which was film, and I was in the place to get it started, so I did. But I went into film. You came and went into law enforcement, and not only did you go into law enforcement, but rose up to the highest, one of the highest levels you can raise up to in law enforcement here. And so, A, I just want to commend you for that, and B, I just want to also point out to people that people are needed in every facet of life. So you can literally start out from somewhere that the same a lot of other people start out in, and if you want it bad enough, if you want to change bad enough, you want to put in the hard work and the dedication, you can rise up to the highest levels in any direction. You can be an actor on TV and film, you can be a police chief and whatnot. And so it's not an easy path, but at the same time it's possible. So it's important to see people not just like me, because you'd be amazed how many times I have conversations with the youth about, you don't have to be a rapper, you don't have to be an actor. Everybody wants to be famous. And it's like there are other important lanes that need to be filled, and where people need to be the first, and you're a first, correct?
Yes, but what's crazy is when I first got into it, my desire was just to be a sergeant.
Really?
That's it. And it's because I was impacted by Sergeant Gerald Lincoln, Sergeant Thad Waddell, Sergeant Mary Green, Sergeant Dan Bullard, at the time, Sergeant Bruce Hickman.
I love that you know their names.
So my
Yeah,
goal
that's good.
was to only be a police sergeant. That was it. And 2003, I was promoted to sergeant, probably one of the younger sergeants in the police department. But God had a little bit more for me than
That's
just
right.
being a police sergeant. It was a lot more. So the opportunity came around in 2005 to take the lieutenant's test. Well, I'd only been a sergeant for less than 2 years. And I was real good. I always done fairly well in promotional processes. So I went ahead and took the lieutenant's test, and guess what happened in 2005? I got promoted to lieutenant.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, all right, I'll retire as a lieutenant. The opportunity came around in 2008 to take the captain's test.
Wow.
I took the captain's test in 2008. 2009, I got promoted to captain. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to retire out of here as a captain. I'm 2 ranks above where I wanted to be. That's pretty respectable. Well, in 2017, a deputy chief's opportunity came up, and I was debating whether I should take the deputy chief's test. And the deadline closed out at 5 o'clock. I submitted my application like at 4:30.
Wow.
That's how uncertain I was. Went through the deputy chief's process, which was a national process. We had candidates from all over the country. Ended up getting that job. I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll retire out as deputy chief. No thought of being the chief of police at that time. Well, 2018, Hurricane Florence, some other things, assistant chief's opportunity came up, which is the second in command of the department. I ended up being appointed to that role. I was like, okay, the light bulb started to light up for real.
Did they ask you to do it, or you just came in one day and was like, you've been appointed?
The chief had asked me to do it, and it was just a great fit for everything that was going on. And once that assistant chief's appointment took place in 2018, the light bulb started to light up. I was like, okay, maybe it's meant for me to be the chief of police. And my wife and I, we started looking at things different then. So 2019, the chief pulls me in one day. He said, look, I'm going to retire in January, and I'm going to turn the department over to you. And I was like,
Wow.
I was like,
Look at that.
okay. I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. So I took over the department in February of 2020. COVID hits there immediately. So I'm dealing with that crisis.
Fun, right?
Yeah.
And what's unique about COVID, it was impacting the entire country.
Right.
Normally when we get hurricanes, we can get mutual aid from other agencies.
Right.
If we all have dealt with hurricanes before, so we know what to do. So here's this pandemic that no one in the country has ever dealt with before.
Right.
I'm like, oh boy, this
Talking
is
about
not
the first day
good.
on the job.
Yeah. So that hits, and we dealt with that. We got through that. I have a great staff, great partners in other city departments. We worked through that. Well, we get through COVID. We've had some other things to happen. Then the Floyd incident takes place. And keep in mind, we're dealing with a gunfire issue in Wilmington, too. We're still dealing with that, too.
Yeah.
Then the Floyd situation takes place. And when I see that, I was like, boy, that's not going to be good. That's going to be bad. And we dealt through all of that. And once we're dealing through that, the incident with the 3 officers comes up.
Right.
And it comes up about the time that council's appointing me to be the permanent police
They're like,
chief.
"Here
So,
you go."
so my first day on the job, I'm dealing with the incident with the 3 officers. I'm standing in a press conference, not even chief 24 hours.
Wow.
A press
even 24
conference that
hours.
goes over the entire country.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm on CBS News,
Everywhere.
BT News. I'm sitting there like, oh boy, talking about baptism by fire.
Right. Right.
Oh, I know, because we, as soon as, I was talking to Kevin about it, one of our executive producers, and he was like, well, I have connections to him. Maybe we can, get him on. And I was like, it's highly important that we get him on, to talk to the world. And our audience is a little bit different. And so with a lot of that going on, the Black Lives Matter movements and every other kind of movement that's also aiding with that process and things that's going on, police are getting battered all over the country, verbally and, in the media and whatnot. I have friends that are police officers, and it's like, it's almost become a thing of, you try to say, especially being an entertainer and being a celebrity, it's like everything we say, somebody's there to judge it and tell us how we don't know what we're talking about. And, you want to tell people, I've had bad experiences with police, especially being raised in the South. And I've had great experiences with police. And police officers I think people forget, are human beings.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Everyone thinks in their own way, and you cannot control every thought of a human being. But, we in America tend to group people together, when the actions of a few become public or polarized. And so, I just one thing I wanted to do with this opportunity was, you know, here we are with an African-American chief of police in the South, and, you know, you are the top cop, the big boss.
Yeah.
You know, what message would you give to people who are just kind of on the fence? Because, you know, I tell people, hey, I've had bad experiences with some police officers. I know some really great ones.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't count out all the police officers. You can't just wipe them all off the board like that or say they're all the same. I have a friend of mine, Dina Larry, who's actually on the WPD.
Oh, yeah.
Is she a headache for you?
No, she's good.
I know Dina. Shout out to Dina. I don't want to trouble. No, Dina's really cool. I've known Dina for years and other police officers. And, you know, like her, you know, she's somebody that growing up saw a disparity in, you know, African-American police officers being on the force, and said, instead of just complaining about it, I'm going to join and be the face, you know, one of the faces that
help fix the actual situation. Yeah.
And you have other officers like that as well who were like, you know what, I want to go and do that so people can see a different face, see somebody that looks like them, and, you know that there are good police officers. And so here we are with you. And is there something you can say to the public? Because they give me hell every time I say, there's good police officers too. And it's like, there's no good police officers and whatnot. And you couldn't have gotten to where you were if you weren't a good police officer. So
Yeah, and what I like to say to that is people have asked me the question, do we need more black officers? Yeah, we need more black officers. We also need more female officers. But having more black officers is not necessarily the answer, because someone said, should you put black officers in black neighborhoods? Absolutely not. That's segregation.
That's segregation.
That's segregation. That's taking us back to the 50s. And I like to say this to folks. We have a lot of good officers. We have some bad officers. Mm-hmm. A lot of those good officers are both white and black. Mm-hmm. Some of those bad officers are both white and black.
Right.
Yeah.
You judge a person by the color of their heart, not
That's
the color
right.
of their skin. That's what's important to me. And you get to judge them by their heart by getting to know them. And we got to do a better job of getting our officers out of the vehicle and engaging the public. And I know COVID has put a wall up to some degree, but we got to find ways to get around that. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I'm doing now, and I actually started yesterday, I am meeting individually with every single police officer and corporal during the month of July for 15 to 20 minutes.
Wow. How many officers do you guys have?
We have 281 total positions. We have about 168 police officers and about 60 corporals. And I met with 21 of those officers today, starting this morning, and I went down on what my expectations will be as we move forward. And a lot of that dealt with community engagement and how we treat the community. Because our whole purpose for existing is to serve the community. We're not a self-serving organization that has to go over here and deal with people every now. That's what we exist for.
Right.
That's who pays the bills. The citizens do through their taxes. And we just want to be able to offer the best services that we can offer to our citizens that live in this community and our guests that come in here, because this is a tourist community. As you said, it's a film community.
Yeah.
So I, too, along with Dominic, I have friends who are in the police force. I'm not from here originally, but I have family members who are in the police force. My aunt is a detective. My cousin is a law enforcement officer. So him and I have a lot of conversations about things, and especially with everything being highlighted right now, police brutality, all the stuff going on. I know it's a lot of heat that's on police officers. So him and I have a lot of debates. And one of the questions I wanted to ask you is, with you being the chief of police and as a black man, of course, being the chief, how do you feel about defunding the police? Do you feel like some of those dollars should go back into the black community? And, you know, just what are your thoughts on that? I know that's a big push right now. How do you feel about it?
Well, I just don't look at it as a black community. I look at it as serving the community. I have to serve all 51 square miles. I think some of the people that are making these defunding arguments, they don't have a full understanding of how the police department operates. Okay. To give an example, with the city of Wilmington, we have about a $35 million budget. $28 million of that goes to personnel. So if you start cutting, you're going to start cutting into the personnel, because we're very limited on our operating expenses. We have to have patrol cars to operate. We have to have fuel. You have to be able to buy uniforms. These ballistic vests, like the one that I'm wearing, they only have a 5-year life. You have to replace them every 5 years. And there's things like this radio that's on the table. It's got a life on it. So I think before we start saying defunding you need to examine what your police department is really up against. And keep in mind, for the city of Wilmington, we have a gunfire issue.
Right.
Between January and May 25th, we had 1,058 rounds of ammunition fired indiscriminately through the city.
Goodness.
We still have to deal with that. On a 24-hour period, my folks average about 395 calls for service.
Wow.
So if you defund the police, who's going to respond to those 395 calls for service?
Right.
Now, I think as an agency administrator, we should always look at ways to be more efficient as a police agency. And if there are some things that we can pass off through another entity and they can do it, I'm all for it. Like involuntary commitments. We have the responsibility of serving mental commitments. And
Agreed.
to me, mental commitments probably should not be served by the police. If someone's in mental crisis and they're not in possession of a
I like
weapon,
that you brought that up.
is the police the best entity to go take them into custody?
Right.
Yeah.
And the way that we operate now under the law, that's how we do it.
Right.
So if we can look at things like that and maybe taking that responsibility off of us, I would be open to it. But to just make a statement like, well, let's just defund the police.
Right.
Find out more about what your police is doing. And again, to give an example, day before yesterday, we responded to suicides. While we were out on the suicide, we had a shooting take place that we responded to. We're responding to traffic accidents. We investigate 7,000 reportable traffic accidents a year.
Right.
And then you have non-reportable traffic accidents. So there's just a lot of things that we do, and I just don't think people fully understand that are saying defund law enforcement agencies.
Right. Right.
That's great context because like that was a great question.
Yeah,
Because
thank you.
people are saying that all over the place.
Yeah.
But without context, there are real world consequences, to these kind of things. So and lastly, we don't want to hold you too much longer. You've been working all day.
Yeah,
and,
this is good, man. I'm enjoying it.
As long as you're having a good
That's what we
time.
like to
As long as you're
hear.
having a good time. You have any questions?
Yeah, I
before
actually do
ask
have
this?
a question. So you were saying like with the mental issue, having to show up to events like that when it's nonviolent. What are some other ways that they could do it?
If the law would allow it, I think if someone is nonviolent, if we had like a group of specially trained folks that had like special vans or vehicles, it would probably be better on the person that's in mental crisis for them to go out and take them into custody versus us taking them into custody.
Right.
Now, there are going to be some cases where someone may be in mental crisis and they're sitting there with a rifle. Of course, we need to go deal with that situation.
Right.
You got the
But I think the majority of the mental commitments that we do, they're nonviolent. And I just think there could be another entity to help us facilitate that process.
I like that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because I've actually seen that in person.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to know, probably some other people in your position, other chiefs all around the nation that have to deal with, there's so many, like you said, there's so many different facets of a police department, and I'm sure running one, and you cannot, no pun intended, but you can't police every, person that is under you
Right.
all day long. What advice would you give to other police chiefs out there as far as dealing with community within the police department, making sure that people are not using biases or officers that are just under too much stress and reacting out of, stress going along, although you can only imagine what police officers see on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And then some of those, in my opinion, some of those incidents aren't brought on by racial bias. There are racial biases, but some of those, and I dare say a lot of those, have to do with a pile up of stress, and to the point to where, how does a chief monitor that with, all of his officers? And you have places like, LA where I'm back and forth, so I'm in LA and I'm here. In LA, a much more, huger issue to deal with. And police chiefs that may be sitting there thinking, how do I make sure that all my officers look at everyone as the community they serve?
Right.
Yes, first of all, you need to have good policies and procedures in place. In the city of Wilmington, we have what's called an early warning system. And if an officer is involved in X number of incidents, it sends a trigger email to the supervisor. So that's one thing that we do. Have your audit processes in place. example of the 3 officers that I recently fired,
Mm-hmm.
we caught that behavior because of a routine audit that
Right.
we have in place.
I was wondering how you guys.
That's how we caught it,
Yeah.
because of an audit system that's been in place for years. And pay attention to what your people are out there doing. If you have a major incident such as a shooting or a suicide and your officers involved in it, don't put them back on the street.
Right.
Get them some help before you put them back on the
Right.
street.
Yeah.
You know, you were saying that one of the things for you that made you want to be a police officer or even think about enlisting was the sergeants and like seeing them involved in the community, and it had an impact on you, right? Would you say that, right? So I have a 2-part question here. Would you say that you still feel, especially being on the other side of it, it's like when you see something, you're like, I always want to do film, or I always want to do music. And then when you're in it, it's like, oh, it's a little bit different than maybe what I thought it was, or here's some things that I can do better in it. So my 2-part question is, 1, is there a difference now that you're in it, as opposed to I was younger and I'm outside, I'm looking and I see the way that they've interacted and now I'm in it. Do you still feel that same type of thing? And what would you say are the things that you're going to put in place now that'll help the community? That would be like a positive thing for the community.
Looking out as a youth and getting in it, it is different. There's more
Absolutely.
paperwork involved than what I thought.
For one, right?
I thought it was all action and fun, but a lot of paperwork. One of the things that I want to put in place is basically there's a wall between police agencies and communities.
Yes.
And what I'm wanting to do is pull as many blocks out of that wall as I can and involve the community in the policing process wherever we can, and just be as transparent as we can. Our drones, that's a controversial issue. Drones, one of the things that we're going to start doing is we're going to release our flight logs on the drones every month for the community can see where the drones have flown at.
Okay.
Yeah, we have nothing to hide there.
Right.
Now, if we do a mission for another agency, we can't release that, but any mission that is driven by the Wilmington Police Department, we're going to release it. Narcotics search warrants, narcotics search warrants. I don't believe in them.
That's awesome.
And the chief before me, he did not believe in them.
Right.
So we're not going to allow no narc warrants in narcotics cases.
Oh, wow.
Now, we have like a murder suspect or something like that pinned up in a house. That's a little bit different.
Right.
But a narcotics case is not worth somebody losing their life over.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Magnificent. And so we're gonna get ready
like
to let
that.
you go. We've
Yeah.
enjoyed having you here. One thing that I do want to touch on, which is off topic, is and you don't have to tell too much of it or whatnot. But one thing you said, you mentioned your wife several times, and for you to get someone like myself who's ambitious and others, I noticed that guys who really get to high positions usually have a good wife at home. That's part of that brand. So what would you say to the men out there that, are trying to, they're ambitious and they want to go? Could you tell them how important it is and how valuable it is
And how to find
have
that balance.
Yeah, and to have a good wife on your side.
It is awesome, man. You have to have a woman that can grow with you.
Yes.
And that's what I can say about my wife. She pushes me. I don't push her. She pushes me, even though I should be the one leading. She pushes me.
That's awesome.
And the other thing I love about her, she's OCD. I mean, she'll sanitize me when I get home. Did you go near anybody, anything like that? But she is great. She has a great spiritual foundation with her. She follows the rules to the T. When you go into Walmart now and you got to go down the aisle and follow the arrow, yeah.
So
behind every strong man.
Every time.
Let me speak for all the
Every
women
time.
here. You heard what the man said. Come on now.
I was waiting.
She pushes me.
That's right. That's
All right.
right.
Well, shout out to Mrs. Chief Williams.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And do you feel like you would have gotten to where you are without her?
Not these past few ranks.
Uh-huh.
When we first started dating, I was a lieutenant on the verge of captain. I would have made captain, but without her support, there's no way I could have gotten through deputy chief, assistant chief, and chief of police.
You see that, fellas? You see how important it is to have a queen and the right
That's
queen
awesome.
behind you.
That's right.
Being your engine, being that air under your wings.
That's right.
Did I say it all?
Yeah.
You
Hold
said
on.
it.
Did I get
Now,
it
I do
all?
have one question. I come from a family where my father's a leader, and he was crazy busy, too. And I know right now you have to be insanely busy. How do you find that balance between work and with your wife and home?
Well, she's gotten used to it. The work, it just never quits. I mean, when I get home tonight, the phone will text or I'll look at emails. What we try to do is annually take a vacation, and I leave the city cell phone at home when we take that vacation.
Nice.
We try to. I don't know if COVID will let us do that because somebody's OCD and they probably don't want to stay in a motel. But anyway, I don't have a problem with going on vacation. But I think, I don't think we're going anywhere this year. So.
It's a real God thing. Yeah,
That's good though. You carve out time for each other.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, good.
Definitely. Well,
Good.
Chief Williams, we appreciate you. We appreciate the job
Yes.
you're
Yeah,
doing.
it was more than a pleasure.
Your service to the community, and keep doing a great job, man. You jumped out there with a bang. You've been on the force for years, so you've already been putting in that work. But now, you have control of the reins, and it seems like you're off to a great start. So we look forward to seeing you prosper, and, we wish you to be blessed. And we're excited to see what you do with the department.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me and invite me back again when things slow down some.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
we will.
definitely.
Thank you.
Now you said it. It was
Yeah,
on,
you
it's
said
on
it.
camera.
Y'all, if you tell us no, I'm gonna come and tell y'all too.
These are recorded.
Right. And I got a couple tickets I need to talk to you
Yeah.
about.
Thank you for being so candid with us too.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Thanks for being so open, right, and
Yes.
candid. I
That's the
appreciate
That's the only
it.
way I know to be. So yeah.
That should be.
We appreciate you.
We need
And
more of that.
now we have to unfortunately move on to the next part. So
Yes.
Chief Williams, thank you so
Thank you
much.
very
Thank you.
much, Chief.
All right.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
All right, we're back. You finished taking your notes there, Rob?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the heck I'm writing because I'm doing it short term, so I don't even know what the heck. I'll be
All
honest with you.
good. All good. Man, we just got done with a great interview with Chief
Yeah.
Donny Williams of Wilmington Police Department out of Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yep.
So grateful for that interview. He had to do 1 million interviews, and so he squeezed us in when he could get a chance. Did you find that enlightening?
I did.
You did?
I liked that he was so candid.
Mhm.
I appreciated that, and I liked that he showed us a little bit of who he is.
Yeah, as a person,
know?
as opposed
Yeah.
to seeing him as a place or a thing that he does. We actually got to see him as a person, to hear about his wife, hear about who he is, how he dealt with coming into what has to be the hardest job to come into. Besides, right now, probably being the president, that would probably be pretty rough too.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine coming into his position. First day on the job. He's been a police officer all those years, but first day on the job, and you do an audit of audio recordings, and you hear 3 officers saying some of the most heinous, criminal-sounding things that you could possibly say.
Terroristic things.
Regarding black people. I mean, imagine being a black chief. You're appointed chief of police over everyone, but you are a black man at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And one of the first things on your list that you see, are those kind of statements from these police officers.
Like you said,
about black people.
He had to come in the first day and deal with Corona and the shootings around town.
Yeah. Right.
And then a few days later, this hits. That's got to be rough, man.
And he's been on the department for years before becoming the chief. So imagine these people. You've been working.
Right.
I think those guys, they said they had a combined 60 years of time on the police force.
Wow.
And so he's known these guys a good portion of his life, I'm sure.
Imagine
And
that.
then you see that, you hear them saying that, and now you're the big boss. And these are people and probably every day, like, what's up?
Yeah, every day
Fred,
saying hey to them.
Yeah. And then you're like, that's got to be mind-boggling. And it's got to be a difficult position to be in.
Yeah.
Like I said, because you got to separate, just, as he stated, he's the chief over everyone, no matter what race. But your family's black, you're black,
That's right.
your children are black.
Yeah.
And you're hearing these statements, and you're like, what? They were talking about murder.
Right.
Yeah.
This wasn't a light thing.
Right.
But as you stated, it was really great to just have that conversation with him, the person. We already knew everyone, from NBC to ABC to all the shows, were, coming at him and hitting him with all those, hard questions, and him having to just be the chief of police the whole time. And so we just wanted him to come in and just be himself and let the world kind of get to know, the man behind the shield.
Absolutely.
And then just things moving forward. And so, he told us some really good things and some good plans at the department.
Right.
And things that he intends to do and implement. And so we'll be keeping up. We'll be keeping up with that, and we'll give you guys an update, as we go along here, a couple of months in.
Right.
And, see if he's been able to, stay on that track.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I like the fact that he told us about his budget. He told us, hey, it's $35 million that we get, and 28 is going to just paying salaries. Everything else, we got to take care of our cars and different things like that.
When he said that, it kind of blew my mind because I got 34 of them in the bank. You know what I mean? I'm lying. I wish I did.
Yo, you know what? I almost got up. I was about to say, oh, hell no.
Like, that's it.
All this time, we going to the store. We going to the store right now.
I'm going to start my own police department.
I need some shoes, G. You got 34. I need some shoes, G. Come up off that.
But, you know, it was great to talk about that. This episode, we ended up going way longer into our interview than intended. And so, but, you know,
and we got to mention the fact that he talked about the police chiefs of North Carolina.
Ooh,
oh,
yes.
Man. We got to bring that fact up that he said the top 10 chief police in this area are minority groups.
That's huge.
Either black or black and female or female. And that's a stride. In North Carolina, I've never thought
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I did not know
that. Was probably one of my favorite things to hear him say. And that's why I said I was looking down at this and trying to realize what the heck I was writing, because I was writing like this. so it's
I'm glad that you wrote it, though, because that's an important point.
It's hieroglyphics, but, you know, I got it in.
It's a very important fact. So, because sometimes people think change is not happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it happens slowly or under the radar. And then you have a black chief of police sit down and tell you, hey, do you know that across the nation, but especially in North Carolina, it's becoming majority African-American chief of police or women? Yeah. You know, I'm like, what?
That was big.
Never thought about that. And I guess you never know who really is at the helm.
Exactly.
A lot of times it's kind of like when you sit so far back in the bus, you don't realize who's driving it. And I think it's good to actually hear somebody say, no, actually, the dude who's driving this, you know, it's good.
So that's super highly important to know. But I want to spend the rest of the time, jump right in it, wanted to talk about social media. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, we don't have our tropical papa with us today.
Tropical.
Shout out to Wavyy Jonez.
We missing you, Wavyy.
I miss you, Wavyy, man. I can feel your presence, though. I can feel your spirit.
He's with all the short girls right now. He's looking for his wives.
Oh, yeah.
He gonna get me.
Right? All
you know they all
girls.
around like,
you know? Hold on. I love the noise. The diggity.
Right. Like,
where is it?
What is that from?
Who did you hear run?
Because you know when you're super, because you know what? I'm going to let it go.
They need like, do they have corduroys on?
That's how they're going to be taught, because he said he wants like the super short. Like, so I'm just imagining like these little teeny weeny, like, remember Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and when they were small and they're like, so us up here, we talk regular, but like,
she said us up here.
Us up here. For all my shorter than 6 inches,
people.
my friends.
Us up here. What are you, 5'5", 5'6"?
No, I am 5'7" and a half, 5'8" on a good day.
She's a big 5'7". Ready for the NBA.
And you know I stand with my shoulders back.
How tall are you?
6'5".
Yeah, okay, I'm only 6'3".
You know what I'm talking about, brothers. I'm not
how's
mad at
that
y'all.
5'7"?
I'm not mad at y'all. Listen.
We talk like this up here. You know what I mean?
You know.
So, how's the weather down there?
A little bass in your voice.
To a 5'7" woman wearing heels, we like to be able to be like, okay.
Oh, yeah, you can wear heels for me.
That always works.
Women can definitely wear heels. It don't matter how tall you are.
Plus, we talked about that too tall thing. That could be an issue in itself.
Oh, man.
You already 6'2", and you put on heels, and you 6'5", 6'8".
But it was important to have the chief, because one of the ways that we learned about this going on, I don't know about you guys, but I learned about it on Facebook. I seen a post on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, Instagram.
And and then you seeing it circulating Instagram and all of that stuff. So, social media has become a very powerful tool.
Ooh, yes, it has.
Very powerful tool. More powerful, I believe, than it should be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People have put a lot of stock into social media more than, what it should.
Yeah, you shouldn't be searching your facts. All your facts on there. Like, I heard
fact check a couple times.
Yeah, I heard Trevor Noah, he was doing the thing where it was just different people they interviewed talking about Donald Trump, and this lady, she happened to say, well, I actually did all my studies and all the stuff to find out the information. He was like, well, where'd you study? Well, I would go on Facebook, I go on Twitter, and I go on Instagram, and I collect all the information together, and it was one of those, oh no.
Oh, people believe if it's in a meme that it's real. Like, just add someone's face, like you see all like the Morgan Freeman and the who else is it? Keanu Reeves, and like the fake memes, and like they say something like people think that it's the truth. If it's out there on the internet, it's the truth.
You remember for a long time that was happening. Like they would say like Well, I think they said that The Rock passed on one of them.
Yeah.
One
Oh,
said Will
yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
And everybody like broke down.
They just believe it.
and then never did the actual research.
Social media is like the spam folder of reality.
It really is.
You know what I mean?
It is.
Anything goes on it. At first, it was fun. At
Right.
first, it was like a fun little kooky thing you laugh at. And
Yeah.
stuff. You're like, this is crazy shit. It ain't-
Right.
Who made this mess? You know, and you laugh and you move on. But then it's like what you said, where it's gotten dangerous is, especially generations that are being born with it already
Yeah.
in existence.
That's
and
right.
growing up with that. It's scary how many people, like you said, actually are getting their only news
Their only
from
news.
social media.
That's it.
And most of it is not even accurate.
You're right.
Now, would we consider like YouTube social media?
Yeah, I would.
Because I
I
say
wouldn't.
like I've learned so much
I
from
do.
YouTube.
I think it's a social media. I think it's a social platform.
It's a social.
Yeah, but you're not really
platform, yeah.
socializing like that. I mean, unless you, I don't know. Wait,
you can kinda
you can
discuss what you
comment.
want.
Yeah, you can comment and say that. That's
Right.
weird to me.
Right.
That's like Yelp.
It's not like a
You know
back
what I
and
mean?
forth type
Yeah.
of
It's like,
deal.
to me, you're a weirdo if you go out to eat and you didn't like the way your steak was, and then you sit there for 20 minutes writing how bad the steak was
Yeah.
at this place. Like, take your weird ass home and make your own damn
That
steak.
is so
Yeah.
funny.
You know, but it's a lot of people doing
I'm
it.
gonna
Yeah.
Yelp.
It is.
All right, bro.
Well, funny story. I literally heard somebody say that. Like I heard, I went and picked up food at this breakfast spot out here, and the guy was like, "Wait till I get on Yelp and write this review," and it was just so funny to me.
Like is
but
that
said
your
it-
day?
he said it to
Do
the
you got
owner,
that
or-
much time?
Who was he saying it to?
I guess. Oh, so I don't want to say the name of the
Yeah, yeah.
restaurant, but it's like a breakfast spot, and I love the food, but I guess he didn't have the greatest experience there, so he's walking out with like his
But I mean,
family
did
or
he
his
say it to
girlfriend.
someone, or
Oh yeah,
was
he said
just
it to everybody
saying
he was with. He was
Oh,
like,
okay,
"I'm
but
going
I
on,
thought-
I'm going on Yelp, but I'm gonna write this up there. Everybody's gonna know about my
Like,
experience."
who takes the
God.
time?
Who really seriously?
to do
That means
that?
you don't got nothing else to do, bro.
That means your big ass eat too
You know,
much.
there's somebody
And
out
you
there
been
like,
thinking too
I do that.
Oh, you do that?
Yeah,
You
No,
one of
no,
those
no,
people?
not
I know
me.
that. I know there's somebody out
But-
there saying it, but I just want you to think about your day. You went out to eat. It wasn't that good. You had a bad day. You're a little frustrated. You get home and you still decide to go on your phone and take some
Right.
time out to go, you know what? I didn't like that omelet. What the?
Yeah,
Right,
it's like,
right.
I'm glad. Imagine if they had Yelp for sex. You know,
You
what
know
I
what?
mean?
Actually,
Like,
y'all
one
just
night
went so
stand,
left.
Low key though.
chick be on there like, oh, he was terrible.
No, but low key.
Oh, you know Rob too?
Tell me that day would be good though when you looked at your own Yelp and was like, yo, I got 5 stars.
That is
Tonight's gonna be a beast.
My side put on
I
there,
am
yeah.
going out tonight.
No, that's
King-a-ling,
funny.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
You got 5 great reviews.
Hung like bull, yeah. My Indian name.
I am not. You know, I don't have a paper to hold up this time and be like, we'll be back.
we love to try to
After
turn
these messages.
SDOT red.
There you go.
Those of you on
Y'all
listening
know I
by
blush.
podcast,
Yes, you do.
she's turning quite red in here.
I am.
That ain't our shadow.
But yeah, so how much you guys like use social media a lot? 'Cause
Every day, all day.
We're all from an era that
We are.
we grew up, we were born, it did not exist,
Right.
and it became in existence in
Right.
our lifetimes.
Yeah.
So we're not necessarily chained to it like a lot of the younger generations
Right.
are. So I found, for me, I still haven't. I've gotten into arguments and relationships and everything else because of social media and the power it has. My attitude has still been, it's just social media. But then you have people who are like, this is real. It affects people's lives and all of that. I didn't realize how effective social media had become
It's effective.
until I lost money over social media.
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit.
Okay, you gotta explain this.
This is real for real.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like, you know, I go book. I'll give you 2 examples. This all happened at the same damn time, right? So I did All Eyes on Me. All Eyes on Me came out worldwide theaters.
Yeah.
Boom, everyone's seeing it, etc. And so I started getting calls and stuff for other different things as well. So I get in the same week, I get booked to do a like a VIP hosting, you know, like at a nightclub, and then also this network. I'll leave them nameless, but this network was creating a show that was kind of like Hip Hop Squares, but with celebrities that, you know,
Yeah.
not in hip hop.
Okay.
And so they were like, it was brand new, and they were like, you know, we want you for this. And so I was like, cool. I was gonna make literally, it was like $5,000 for 3 hours of filming.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then I'm gone.
Right.
And I was back on the East Coast at the time. They were like, yeah, we'll fly you out first class and then fly you right back when you want to go.
Okay.
Bet.
And I was like, cool. Go pick up a quick $5,000, 3
Right.
hours
Yeah.
of filming.
Sweet. Right.
Right. And not acting, so I can just be in myself. This would be the
Right.
easiest $5,000
Yeah.
I ever made.
Right.
And it was literally like both of those things literally was like 3 days later. And they were like, oh, the show called first. And, you know, they informed my people. They were like, Yeah, so there is actually a social media requirement. You have to whoever comes on has to have 500,000 or more followers.
Wow.
Which I was nowhere near. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm popping in real life though. Like,
Right.
I'm
Like,
a
I'm
real
known.
life,
I'm really
right,
doing
I'm
this.
known,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
come walk
Yeah,
the
that
streets of
annoys
Hollywood
me.
with me so you can see what
Hello.
happens.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's some real shit. You know.
Well, you
And
know what's funny about that? You remember Shy says she was mentioning that
Who?
exact thing. When we had Shy on for the interview, she was mentioning
Yeah.
how she used her Facebook her Instagram to do that.
Yeah, she used like her business card, which is smart.
Very smart.
I had to adapt and adjust because I lost the club thing because they were like,
Really?
Wow.
yeah, well they really people associate social media now with if they're not familiar with what's going on, which is hard to be familiar with every single thing and every single person. But if they're not familiar, then they go to the first thing they do is let me see your social media, and they assume, oh, if you don't have this many people following you, then it must not be popular, or people must not resonate with that person. And I've had so many people come up to me like, man, your social media you should have way more followers and stuff, and I'm like, I get it. You know, it does not reflect how many people approach me for pictures and autographs and all of that stuff. But I didn't care either.
Right.
You know, so like when All Eyes on Me came out, I've been acting for years, but I never really took social media that serious. You know, it was always like a side thing, just a little fun thing to do. And when All Eyes on Me came out, I made the mistake of not really utilizing social media when it was out, and I was at my peak in media and all that stuff like that because I didn't care.
Right.
You know. And I kind of looked at like Instagram, and Facebook, I want to still maintain some kind of personal space where my friends and family, it's just us, and things like that. A couple other people I know.
And don't get caught up in the hype too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, then I find out afterwards, like, oh, I should have been on my social media.
Dang.
And because these numbers, because people, it's like a confusing thing. They're like, they come to you because they know you're popping in real life. And then they go, your social media though, man, it doesn't reflect.
Which is funny because if you think about it, like Will Smith is starting to do it more. You're starting to see like Will Smith.
But Will is getting paid.
He sure is.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you do it at that level, yeah, I'm gonna need a check.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he got not coerced, but led into getting active with social media.
Okay.
Via payment.
Okay.
So Instagram
I'll
or
be
somebody's paying him for that. It's because he doesn't run his Instagram. Like, let's be real. And if I were him, I wouldn't run my Instagram either.
Yeah.
I get to that level.
He has the dopest videos. He really does.
He
has the
Will just be
dopest
living.
content. He really does.
Yeah.
And that's the side of social media I do like.
Right.
Because Will is somebody I follow. And
still real.
Yeah.
Like The Rock, Will.
Right. The Will is just living his best life.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, here, I'll let you see a piece of it.
Yeah.
He's got to that point where he's made enough money where Will's just like, I do what the hell I want to do. Like, here you go. I'll let you see some of it. I'm on top of, I'm in Budapest on top of some giant building where nobody's legally allowed to go most times, but not me, Will Smith,
Do you think that take away from some of your anonymity where you can't not be in the spotlight?
Yes. Yes, definitely. Because your team, I have publicists, management, others, and they're when you're not active on it, they're always on you. You got to be active on your social media. Post some stuff. Don't post that.
That
Don't
sounds
talk
like
about
my mom.
this. Do that.
Here's my thing with the whole social media craze. Like, I definitely see the pros to it. I feel like some of the cons is like it's very similar to reality TV.
Yeah.
You can choose what you can post. Anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times you're not who you post to be. And I feel like the people who are
80%. 80% are not what
it's
you
like,
see.
Right. And then even the people that you may think is like, oh, here's this vixen girl. And that's not. Yeah, that girl might be sleeping on somebody's couch right now.
Drake actually said that. He said
it's the truth.
I posted it where he was like, "You save pictures to post later, so people still think you on the go."
Right.
And
you know, and it's interesting because it's like the things that you're following, and then it's a sad thing because now you have maybe young girls or or young men that are looking at this lifestyle like, oh, I need to be this lavish person. They have all these followers. This is what I have to do this, and it's not even factual.
Yeah.
It's a facade. You know what I mean?
And the worst part to me, man, is like, I'm torn because I have morals. Right. I have, when I look at young women, especially, my mom is black, my aunts are black,
right,
my sister's black, so it hits me a little different with the black women, but all women, in general, where you're just looking and you're like, some of the things I see, I'm torn because it's like I'm online. When you get on Instagram, I don't know about you, but for us as men, you turn apart creep, but then you got the ethical side of you that's like,
it's a hard battle.
Why is she doing this to herself? Yeah,
right.
Because I do really feel bad. I've had girls even say like, "This is my goal in life to be an Instagram model."
You know that doesn't last, baby.
Well, you do know that's not a
I've
technical
actually
term,
had a girl
right?
say that to me. I want to be a
I
model on
believe
Instagram, and
it.
it's like,
I believe it.
okay.
Because
Or
you look
showing-
now,
And the
leads to
sad part
OnlyFans.
is she's beautiful. Like, to see that them be beautiful and be like, do you know there's so much more? And then like you brought up the fans,
blasted
like the
somebody.
fans only.
Oh, blast them!
No, because I remember, being in like a very, very important meeting with like a lot of money on the table, right?
How much?
And
And where was it?
like where I could have really like signed something and
it's
like
for you.
Oh,
for me, for
okay.
myself,
It won't.
right?
It won't in cash, right?
Huh?
I was gonna say, because if you having this meeting again, tell me what time.
No, but it was like there were stipulations with it. Like, oh, well, we'll need this done to your image, and we'll need you to like, you have a body, so you need to show it off on social media. You gotta, and it was like this. This now I'm tying it in.
OnlyFans.
No.
I'm just kidding.
But I got my
My
toes
Lord.
on OnlyFans. If you, I don't. I got pretty toes on. I'm just saying, y'all. But I don't got them out
Is
there.
that
But
a thing? I'm gonna start OnlyFans
No,
for
yeah,
my
it's
feet.
a thing.
I'm bugging out with how many
Evelyn
creeps
Lozada.
actually pay attention to somebody's toes that much.
no,
I'll be
it's a
honest
big
with you.
thing. So
I
Evelyn
can put my
Lozada
feet on OnlyFans.
has her feet
Yo,
on
but G, I think you
OnlyFans,
should do
and
it.
she has like beautiful feet, by the way. She has her feet on OnlyFans, and I'm pretty sure it's probably popping.
That's
You
weird,
can do that.
But let's stop finish her story.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you. So you guys are such
SDOT
gentlemen.
doesn't
Look
have
at
an
y'all.
OnlyFans. We're kidding.
I don't.
And she doesn't have her feet.
But if times ever got hard, I'll
Put
show
the
my big
toes,
toe
hey,
now. I'm like, hey. So dip the toe in. So sounded so funny. You know what? That sounded so funny.
Stirring a cup of tea with a big toe.
Are we thirsty?
You know your toe high.
The get out. Get out.
Right. Some dude at home like, God damn, look at them feet.
Ew.
Jesus.
Man, yo,
You
take the
know
toenail
what?
polish off. Now just chip your toenail polish.
Y'all so silly. I cannot. Y'all so, what? Give me the pen. Guys, we'll be back after these messages.
It's like stir the mashed potatoes, girl.
Pick up
You'd
a piece
be
of macaroni.
surprised. People are weirdos.
Mix that.
People
What's
are
it called?
crazy.
Mukbang or mukbang?
Yeah. Who's the people that
mix
like
that
to
with
We
Watch
have to
people
do one
eat?
of those.
No,
People
we
whole
not.
bunch of
Yo, I
seafood.
can't.
Who's the people that like
Yeah,
to
I
watch
I
Nobody
just
people
hate
jacking
that.
off to
Like,
me.
oh,
Yeah.
wait, that's what they do.
So that's what that is.
No.
It's sexual,
Yo,
yeah.
so
Serious?
yeah, no,
Yes.
like I know a girl, like literally, she has a. I used to date a long time ago. Don't want to
Okay.
ask questions.
You said we need
she
to do
gets,
that. Look
she
at
I
this.
thought,
gets
I thought you were
paid.
talking about the girls that like eat the seafood.
Yeah.
Yes,
And they're
It's
like
for
making all the.
sexual-
she
'cause
gets
weirdos
paid
get
to
off
eat
on-
burgers
Yeah.
on camera on Snapchat and Instagram.
Yeah.
Bugs me out.
Wow, that's like a
'Cause I would
dream
love
job.
to get paid to sit there, but
Right.
So like literally somebody when they
That
watch
is-
some videos on this end of the camera, the person is bringing all their food together. Like, hey boys, I got these cheeseburgers.
that's so weird.
And then on the
That is
other side of that,
crazy.
on the other side of that monitor, some dude is sliding his Vaseline over. She got pizza tonight. Yeah.
Eat the French fries with your toes. do it how Sandrea do it.
Okay,
Dip it
let
in
me tell y'all
barbecue
something I
sauce.
heard. I know we're getting off topic, but this is good. Listen, I heard that there is like a market where men will fly women overseas to defecate on them.
Oh, they
Ain't
do
that
that
some
here.
shit?
Ain't that was so good?
They do that
That
here.
was so
Yes. I'm late. That was good.
I had to
That
pause
was
like,
good.
I almost repeated it like, yeah, ain't that some shit? I said, ain't that some shit?
You good, boy. You good.
That
You the next Lenny Bruce.
I do what I can do when I
You
do
on
what
your
it
way.
is,
That
and I
was
know how to do it.
You on your way.
Yo, listen, you were on it. You were on it. Hope it all come out okay.
There you
That
go.
But
was good.
let's get back
So
to the
people
let's get
are
back to the
doing-
story of you were signing a deal.
So yeah,
yeah.
so I'm in this, and I'm super excited. I'm like, yes, because I've been on my grind for a long time with a lot of different things, and so I'm like, okay. And one thing that I'm bringing all this up to bring it home somewhere. So the whole thing was, hey, we'll need to change certain things about your image and enhance certain things about your image, and we want you to show more. We want you, can you jiggle, can you twerk, like these, like really, like these types of things. So I'm sitting there, and I do a good job of keeping a poker face. Like when I'm in this situation, I'll keep a poker face, and then after I'm like, this motherfucker. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, for real? Like, is that what you guys are, you know? And this is kind of how I'm taking. I'm like, so is that what we're looking to do?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, let me think about this, and I'm gonna get back to you guys. And literally when I got up, I was like, they cannot be fucking serious. Like, I wish I would, but I wish the fuck I would. But it was really hard. But the thing is, it goes. For me, morals are huge for me.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to imply that if you are someone that you're on OnlyFans or you're showing your assets that you don't have morals, because you probably do. Maybe you feel like you do, and that's great. And I'm not trying to judge anyone, but for myself.
But you have to say that even if you have morals, you suspend them in that moment.
Right. Like,
no
right.
other way
Where's
around
the,
it.
like, I'm very proud of this fact, right? That I may not have 100,000 followers yet. We'll get there, you know, and it's not something I strive to do. What I'm striving to do is make an impact with anything that I do, right? And make something better in my life, make everyone better in my life. So that's what I'm striving to do. And that means a lot to me. Yeah. So it's like, my daughter will never look on Instagram or look on Facebook and be like, my mom was out there and like a little thong and
that's the thing that
like,
kills
or
me.
like marrying a
you
girl
know?
and then eventually finding her Instagram or old Instagram she had and be like
I'm very
bro.
proud of the fact. To me, it's almost, for me, again, I'm not gonna speak for anyone else, but it's like selling out. And I've had people approach me with this, and I'm telling you something, I was hungry. Like, I'm still hungry, but I literally was hungry in that moment. You know what I mean? Where it could have changed the lives of my family. You know, I was still living at home. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was in that moment that I'm like, damn, I need this. And I was like, you know what? If I sell out right now, I'm gonna look back on this and I know I'm gonna regret it.
You gotta.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta stand for something.
You always remember how you got it,
right?
You know.
So those numbers don't mean everything all the time.
You've got to look down the road sometimes, and I hope a lot of them are listening to us, because I always wanted, you just want to grab them.
Just want to say, hey, bruh.
Hey. Okay, we enjoy seeing you. And we enjoy seeing that ass shake and everything else.
Like,
what
are you doing?
But at the expense, it's the expense. You know what I mean? I'd rather, as much as I like seeing some of them, I'd rather not see any of them at all doing it if they're going for something more and something better.
Right.
Using their talent, their actual talent, their brains, building a brand outside of that. Remember, like, back in the day, it was before there were OnlyFans and Instagram and all of that stuff. You did have girls that, they're like, look, I'm just down and out. I'm fine. I got all this ass.
I gotta make this happen.
I got to feed this kid or whatever.
Right.
And they go to the strip club.
Yeah.
And back,
pay their
and
way
even,
through school. Yeah.
Right. And even then it was like a faux pas.
It was.
Underground. You can't tell no family and none of this because you'd be judged, right?
My name is Masquerade.
As you should be, right? And then now you have social media. And like I've noticed even during COVID, there's been women I never would have expected. OnlyFans popping up. I've gotten to the point now.
OnlyFans.
I unfollow them when I see OnlyFans because that tells me about your mentality,
right?
Which is, to me, I don't know about everybody else, but to me, fine is fine. That's great. It's great to look at. It's like TV. I'm gonna turn it off eventually. But I want to see your mind. I want to see the type of person you are. And for me, that lets me know. Oh, you the quick, easy person. Okay, you want the easy money. You're just surface, right? You know, and it's not about me or you or anybody being able to trust. They're in their own world, and there will be some people who will look at this and be like, "To hell with them." But I'm just trying to give you good shit. Like, you're gonna have children. They're gonna grow older. All this is on the internet. You literally find it. You got porn sites that take their OnlyFans and other stuff and move it. Like, you're literally becoming a porn star. You're not even aiming for that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just a downward spiral because now you go get the job of your dreams finally, right? And your boss comes in 3 months into the job and is like, I actually know a story of this happening. Like, we got to let you go. Like, what? Why? Because we got this video sent to us from some public account you had.
That happened to a female
2 years
mechanic.
ago.
I saw it.
Right.
That's rough.
They don't
female
think
mechanic.
down the road. Unless you're going to just go to porn and do that all your life, which that's a rough road and doesn't last. None of this stuff lasts.
Nah.
What lasts is your talent. Ladies, you have talents. You have resources in your mind.
And you're so gifted sometimes.
Right. Don't let the short money ruin your long money.
Yeah.
That's what you got to understand. That's business.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now, is there a difference between, because I know somebody out there is probably listening or watching and thinking this. What about when a man does it? Because they do it all the time.
Men are monsters.
I'll be honest with you.
Men are ogres, man.
I don't pay attention to it, so I wouldn't know.
But I mean, so is there a double standard? Because I'm speaking from the female perspective. There's always a double standard. Like, if a woman gets out there and she's showing off
Everything.
and
I don't
right
watch the men, so I
everything.
don't
It's
know.
like, girl, damn, you thirsty.
Well, see-
You another one. But if it's a man out there doing it, like when Safari was showing his stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Who's
All the women was like,
Safari, and why was he showing
mhm.
himself?
He was
See,
showing
I'll
it.
be honest with you. All right, so I saw what's my
Friday
guy
showing his
Ryan?
stuff?
He
What's my
showed
man?
his
The
stuff.
I'm
comedian.
like, boy, I raised you better than that.
What's the comedian Ryan Davis? Ryan Davis
Yeah.
did a post not too long ago where he had these guys
Shout out to Ryan Davis.
eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Ryan Davis.
Shout out,
eating the
Ryan.
ice cream, and it was so bad. It was like even gay guys and women would have looked at that and like, ew, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, why are you doing that?
Right.
It was disgusting. So it's like, I
What
can
was
see
the
that.
purpose of it? Like,
Yeah,
what-
no, they were trying to be sexy. And they were
Oh.
all licking off
And this
the
was like a
same
for real
ice
thing,
cream.
or was it a funny
Like
thing?
they
they're
were
like
standing in a
posting it,
line. Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
look sexy?
He
Oh,
posted
gotcha.
them standing in a line, licking. One was eating a ring pop,
Uh-huh.
and then passing to the guy behind them, and they
Ugh.
all bruh.
That
It
is
was so
disgusting.
bad.
During
Dang.
COVID?
Yeah, it was so bad.
First of all, even if it's not during COVID, like, what are you
Right.
doing?
Right.
But see, your response as a lady, like even 6 packs and all, it's one of
Yeah, no.
ew, bro.
But why was nobody in that group going, hey, what the hell?
Bro,
Right.
Y'all
that-
bastards doing?
Right.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Right.
who is your friend?
Right.
Like, who is your friend? So, like, I mean, I'm saying, if you take that and you switch it around and you have 4 beautiful women sitting in line
Mm-hmm.
and ate that, all of our minds just completely changed. We like even
Oh,
you
everybody
being a
would've loved
female, you as a female wouldn't have been like the response to the guys going,
Right.
ew.
No, I wouldn't have.
The response is, I mean, that's nasty.
It ain't as good as when women do it. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
But it's also, and there is a double standard.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wild
but
double
it's
standard.
also why women in porn get paid more than the men.
Yeah.
Women in modeling get paid more than the
Yeah.
men. That double standard.
You know, I
benefits
didn't know.
them.
I didn't know that women in porn
Yeah.
get
I mean,
paid
think
more
about
than
it.
men.
Watch the
If we do a
documentaries.
movie,
I did not know.
If we do a movie, do you think they'll give me $1 million to take off my shirt, or would they give you $1 million to take off your shirt to do an actual legitimate movie?
Right.
Ask Holly Berry.
Yeah, they're gonna pay
Right.
And you
more.
know who else had his shirt off? What's it? Billy Bob Thornton. He had his shirt off. I'm sure he didn't get paid because his shirt. was-
Right. I get you.
Yeah. And so,
Right.
so you have to look at these things, and go, where is social media taking
Yeah.
us?
Right.
You got the battles right now, even in politics. They're battling, mainstream media is attacking Facebook
Mm-hmm.
for not adopting the same precedents and rules as Twitter has recently done when starting to mark the president's tweets. God, I fucking hate calling him the president. But calling
Let's acknowledge that moment, right?
Yeah.
calling Donnie, calling Donald, putting on his tweets fact checks. You know what I mean? With links
Yeah.
to the fact of what
Right.
he's saying. Basically saying, without calling him a liar, saying,
Yeah.
Right.
you can read this or listen to it, but then
But
here's the link to the
Here's
Maybe
the
you
truth.
shouldn't drink bleach.
and
Hello.
that's-
Right up there.
Right.
and that's highly important because
It is.
his
Yeah.
messaging, he uses social media
Right.
because it goes through no filters, which is the dumbest thing in the world because that's what's killing him right now in the polls.
Yeah.
Is if you could just shut your ass up for 10 minutes,
You might
you
be
might
right.
be all right.
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
you might
do right.
You might do
Right.
right. And there's people trying to get him to shut up, but he's like, this is my thing. It's my power. And so you have the president of the United States bullying everyday average citizens. He just recently tweeted about the driver Bubba Wallace.
He sure
saying that
did.
He owes,
Oh,
he
man.
owes
He was-
NASCAR an apology. And
Oh
all that.
yeah.
Now Bubba Wallace is getting, lambasted by the president, who really should have been like the janitor, but they're getting lambasted by the president of the United States. Could you imagine that?
Yo, that's crazy.
The president of the United States on Twitter talking shit about
That's
you.
crazy.
That's crazy. But I mean, these are crazy times.
It
'cause,
is
I mean,
crazy
It
times.
really is a crazy
I mean,
time.
when Kanye is fitting in with everybody, and everybody was like willing to take him back, and then
So
yeah,
I have mixed feelings about that
Yeah,
because
it's
I
special.
feel like Kanye is
Cancel culture.
cancel culture.
Hold up.
Cancer, yeah.
Hold up, bro. I'm a Cancer. That is not my culture.
No, I said cancel.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
the cancel
Not can-
culture.
I thought you said cancel
Nothing
culture. I was
against
like,
cancer.
hell no.
So
I like, and to quote Kanye, we miss the old Kanye.
I get that.
Legitimate.
You know what
I
I
do
mean?
get that. I like Kanye.
Here's
I want to like him.
I
wanna
like
like
Kanye.
him so bad, but,
But
he
here's
keeps
how do you like
doing
Kanye?
stuff.
How do you
I
like
do.
Kanye after this recent stunt? he's
Oh my
pulling?
god.
He's literally, what other reason could
So
he
there's
have
been
for running
debates
for
with that,
office
right.
other than to split the Democratic vote, to pave the way for someone he showed us
Right.
where his alliances
That's
are.
true.
That he's aligned. He showed us more than once. Hey, let me remind you in case y'all forgot. I'm aligned with this dude and everything he represents and stands for. And his constituents represent
So
and
let
stand
me ask
for.
y'all this.
Yeah.
What about how Kim K has used her leverage, okay, with, you know, how they're affiliated with the White House, because I don't want to say his name either. But I'm just saying.
Oh man,
I saw your eyes glitter. I saw it like,
Right.
listen.
he did the noise.
Y'all, see, I'm sitting close to Dom, but even if you're not, you can see it through the camera like, bing, bang. I'm ready. But no, I mean, she's done a lot of great things. Like, she really has. She's released people from prison. Like, I feel like there may be an agenda there that might be a good agenda.
It's not.
No?
No, the record shows it.
So
Okay, so
The record
what
shows
you
it.
haven't heard of any of this?
yeah, I've heard of this, but I just don't see how.
Let me tell you, as a celebrity, public person, you know, what do you call it? Public figure, or whatever you want to call it. I don't get into
The
all of
man,
that.
you know?
But as
Just go
somebody
ahead
in
and
that,
say it.
I know a lot of people. I've seen a lot of things.
Right.
And you know, I hate to break this to most people. Not all, but a lot of so-called celebrities do certain things because it's very good for your brand.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
especially when you're trying to
Absolutely.
clean your brand up.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you have the power, when you have a president in office, to anything with nice boobs and a pretty face comes in and say, I want to do this. He's like, sure.
Yeah, especially
do
the one
it.
that likes to
Right.
grab. Well, we'll just leave that out.
Right. And so she saw what she normally does. And this is no shade at all.
So you think
'cause
she capitalized?
I respect Kim K's hustle.
Oh
Right.
no, the hustle is strong.
If you look at from the beginning,
Right.
you know what I mean? We ain't
The
gonna bring up
hustle's
Ray
strong.
J and all that stuff.
I don't know if it's Kim K though, so
But-
much as I respect Kris Jenner's
Well,
hustle.
her mom
is the truth.
Her mom cultivated all of
Which
that.
one are we talking
Absolutely.
about? Kris
She-
Jenner or
The mom.
Which
So,
one are we talking?
well, Kim K. But what I'm saying
Kim
is,
K's mom.
if you go all the way back,
You know what?
if you go all the way back and you look at her hustle all along, you know, all of them really. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Even
you
Kylie.
you think getting with Kanye was just love? You think that was just all
Yeah, I
about?
know it
I'm
won't
so
love with
in
Ray
love with
J,
him.
so I'm
Strategic
doubting his
brand
Ray.
move, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you see, and it's not to shit on Kim K and Kanye. They're not the only. This isn't new. They're not
Right.
the
Nah.
only ones to do it.
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean? It's almost like royalty back in the day, you know, Parliament, where they would bring together two major forces.
Right.
They knew what did she need more than anything? She had the money, so she didn't need his money.
Yeah.
Right.
So what did she need?
Definitely a media boost.
That
she
that
needed-
urban in.
No, she needed validation because
But from who?
Because
That's a
her
beautiful way to look
because her brand was the girl from the porn movie that went platinum because at the time she was banging.
Yeah.
I saw the video. I didn't
I
blame
didn't see
Ray
the
J. I'd have
video.
filmed it
You
too.
saw I didn't.
You never saw the video?
No.
You see that?
Oh
video?
man.
I really have you seen it?
Yeah, of course I saw
I
it.
mean, I think probably the guys.
Kim
but
was in her
I
best
haven't.
form.
Yeah, it was Kim Kardashian when she was in her best.
Well, you got
Just about every dude at that
and
age was like,
you got to
yeah.
remember, this is when Kim wasn't. She was getting kind of popular, but she wasn't like really
Yeah.
popular. Just more like a pinup.
It blew her up.
And
It
she,
did.
her
Oh, yeah.
body was banging at that time. That was the first round of surgeries. That's when it was on point.
Right.
And so,
I mean, her body banging now.
no, I don't know about the diaper, but that's
Yeah, it's kind of.
It
yeah,
was rough looking.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Rabbit getting old, baby.
Right,
Rabbit getting old.
right.
Rabbit getting old.
I'm gonna
no.
put y'all on as somebody on social media who's popping.
Word.
I'm talking about body. Her body is
talking about India Love?
everything.
Oh, 'cause
Jai,
they say-
J-A-I.
Oh,
You know
What's
her?
that?
no,
Okay.
I don't think so.
J.A.I..
Shout out to her. I hope I'm saying
J.A.I..
it right. And she has this thing called Cooking with
And a
Jai.
shout
So
out
she
to
cooks. She's
India
Jamaican. Listen, her body.
Just to put that out
Oh,
there.
I bet, man. I bet. I
Oh,
follow a
India
couple
loves the
Jamaican
truth. I
ladies.
know that's your little crush. That's your crush.
Lord of
India
mercy.
Love is this. I met her at Coachella.
Is she really that
Really?
tall?
This big. Now
That's
she's
funny.
beautiful. She's
She
beautiful. I used to
is.
love India Love
She
too. So when
is.
I seen her, you know, I was like, oh man.
So she more like wavy height.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I can get with the short. Yeah.
No,
we can do
I
that.
literally-
But Wavy's actually taller than me.
Yeah, but wavy likes girls
That's
that's shorter
right.
than his
That's the
desk.
wavy height.
But like, it was funny because she was out. You know how India Love posts stuff. Now,
Uh-huh.
India Love, I will say, is one person how she posts herself, that is exactly what she looks like.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well that's
To the
dope.
T,
Look at him.
right?
He's
The
like,
Lord
ooh.
is good.
And she wears outfits that
I
she
like her.
posts.
I'm
Like,
about
it
to
ain't
show
just-
y'all
together.
this chick though.
So when I seen her, I was like, we were at Coachella at a
I
party.
think
at
this is the
Coachella.
first time a girl
She
sent
was-
me showing me a picture of a girl.
She was
on
coming through, and
Mm-hmm.
she's short, so and she's petite. So I didn't even really realize she was there until she was walking by and had to get past me, and I was like, what? Oh, and she had on like this mesh shirt with no bra.
The Lord is
Oh,
good.
Now, I
for
don't
real.
know what lotions and juices and berries she used on them things, but I'm telling you,
They
they
You
were,
know what? Y'all better
They were
stop.
perfect and
See, I
sitting
can't even
just
say
right.
anything to have her back because if you put yourself out there like that, that's what it is.
that's Jai.
Yeah.
All right,
Her name is
Jai.
John Nice. Shout
Nice.
out to
All right,
John
shout out
Nice,
to
okay?
Jai Nice. Do you know this,
Jai
Nice. For real.
this woman?
So I do not.
just
I
follow
know.
her? Oh, okay.
I think she's following me back, so we follow each other.
That's that pretty milk.
And
chocolate.
Nice.
she dope.
Yeah.
She dope.
Can she cook?
Oh wow, bro,
Can
she's
she?
crazy.
Oh, honestly, man, it don't matter. She's
Like,
fine.
no, she could cook. I'm talking about from scratch. She's just coming, and she is like a boss. She has her own brand. I mean, she a boss. She does.
There
She
you
does
go.
her
Is
thing.
she a singer too?
No.
Oh, there's
Not that
I
I'm
just
aware
started following
of.
this girl on social media, and this woman, and she's a singer, and she's actually really good. She sings like some form of reggae. It's not like straight
Mm-hmm. Is it
hardcore
Steph?
reggae. You say it again?
Steph.
I don't know. I gotta figure
London?
it out. I don't know, but she's from Jamaica. She's
Okay.
light skinned, oddly.
It got to be
Yeah.
Steph London.
And when she starts talking, it's like that patois kicks in. Yeah. It was like, yo, it even looks weird because her voice is sexy and it's that Jamaican accent. But
That's
then
dope.
she's like light skinned with this like kind of Euro mix look.
There you go.
Obviously, she probably mixed with something, but still, it's like, whew.
Now, I would like to ask that.
Talk to me.
Tell me
she
that
could read
hasn't
books to me.
changed a lot about like who you choose to be with because of social media.
See, that's a
there's so
good-
much more access now. So
Yeah.
like your choice in women, you kind of do the different. It's a different look at it now. Like you
You're in a relationship, you got to just log off, unfollow a whole
Yeah, you
bunch of
kinda
people.
gotta shut it
You got to
down.
clean your stuff out.
Wait,
It
do men
messed up.
really just so
You
let's talk
have
about
to.
this to answer your question because there was just a conversation between Lil Wayne and 50 and they were talking where 50 said something about exotic women and he's like, listen, we like them looking exotic, like that's what it is, and like they got a lot of backlash about it.
You
So
look exotic, you know that, right?
well, thank you. I've been told that.
Where you got curls and then the locks. Stop
Thank
playing. You
you.
got locks.
Wait till I
baby
come in here
hairs and
curly
stuff.
next week.
Yeah.
No, but my thing is like, is there some buy-in with that? So like when you're looking, because I appreciated the 90s. I like, and you know me in real life, I don't wear a lot of makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little to none. If anything, I just put on mascara and I go out and I like that natural look, right? And I know in the 90s, it was natural hair, natural breasts, natural bodies, and people were okay with that natural look.
Yeah.
And now on IG, everything is the fake lashes.
I can't
The
stand
girls
Now,
are
okay,
made
I don't
up.
like that.
I mean, even if it's like the individuals, it doesn't have to be like the thick
Well, see, I
whatever.
don't- I wouldn't know the
but
difference.
a lot of the girls have that, and then everybody
social
has their
media's
weaves
pushing
and
that. It's
they're
pushing
pushing
that.
it.
And so more are
this
doing it.
exotic
Yeah.
is it exotic or is it made up?
Now,
you
see,
know?
I think we have different opinions in exotic.
Okay.
Because like, case in point, I lived in Miami for a long time.
Right.
A lot of guys in Miami, the straight guys, would not even pay attention to a girl that they couldn't tell from 40 feet that was a female. Why? Because you're in Miami. And so
Okay.
What you trying to
too
say
much
about Miami?
hair, too much makeup, too much butt, too much breast.
overkill.
You were looking at from a distance going, no, I'm good. Why? Because I can't tell from 45 feet, 100 feet that I'm going, that's
Yeah.
a female.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
so-
interesting.
And so exotic for me is when you can be no makeup, no hair, and no extra hair, and you're just getting out of the pool, your hair is wet, and you still look gorgeous.
And you're killing it.
You're
Okay.
killing it. That's different. That's exotic
But
for
not
me.
everybody
as
can
opposed
do
to,
that.
Yeah.
You know? Some people come out looking like ashy feet and they don't have no choice.
Bruh, but I'm
Ooh.
dark skinned. That's not my fault. That's not my fault. Gotta put coconut oil and everything on. Bruh. It's special.
Well, I would love to stay on this topic all night long. There's so many things we could talk about it.
Yes.
And maybe we'll come back around to this topic
Cool.
again somewhere down the road and, update and see what it is
Indeed.
for. We need to get off here before we get in trouble.
Yeah.
And
You
say
ain't
too
lying.
much.
Yeah.
But no, seriously though, everyone love yourself. Ladies, Love yourself. Use your
Indeed.
real talents. Use your
Yes.
mind to do these things. Yes, that easy money can make you, you can make easy money fast for a moment. But when you build off your real talent, build your own brand outside of your body and your face, you can actually have a long-term
Longevity.
blessing
It
in
has
your
to
bank
last.
account.
Right.
You know what I mean? And build something legacy. You can't have no legacy popping ass on OnlyFans.
They
But
gonna get
can have a
you. They gonna
legacy.
Because
get
40 years
They
from
can
now,
get me. I'm
Let-
trying.
They
let's
gonna
be honest
get
though.
you.
Let's
Give
be
them
honest.
game.
40 years from now, you probably don't need to still be twerking, bro.
Right, but that's gonna follow them all of their lives, no matter what they
That's
do.
true.
You know what I mean? And
Can we shout out real quick? I do want to shout out the people who have leveraged social media to
Now,
make a
that's
name for
different.
themselves. The comedians, even
Oh, I got-
actresses. Like there's a lot of people who have leveraged their
Yeah.
social media platforms and they are doing really, really well. It inspires me. I just want to shout you guys out. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out.
Yeah,
yes, most definitely.
Like Ryan Davis.
absolutely.
Yeah, there's a
Right.
young lady. I'm actually trying to get her on the show for next week. I've got to. What is her name again? Keys.
Man, that
Y'all
sounds
know
like
who
our
I'm talking
personal
about.
conversation right here.
She teaches about business. Look at this. I can't even get through all the.
You know, there's a
All the
guy that
strippers.
I listened to his investment advice from that my mom actually had put me on to, and I got to figure out who that is. I'll post it or tell someone next. But
Yeah, we'll talk about
he has all kind of investment advice, and he teaches you how to leverage and how to build equity
Yeah.
and
Oh, that's dope.
index stocks and different things like that. And I've been
Okay.
following him for some
Yeah,
time
so
now.
fellas, don't spend hours on Instagram looking at all this scattered ass. There are actually opportunities. There's information. There's links
There's
to
so much.
things that you can see.
Right.
Don't over sexualize
Build your brain up.
the world in your mind.
Where
Right.
your
because
Instagram
of
shouldn't
social media.
always just
And
bring
be
up
okay
just
with like be okay with the natural
Yeah.
women.
right.
Because all that other ish is going to fade. Like I mean,
Yeah.
it really is, you know. So
Yeah. So we love you all. We're gonna wrap
Yes, we
up and get
do.
out of here. We got producers and associate producers, waving, doing cartwheels and stuff to try to get us to wrap it
He over
up.
there doing the
Yeah.
backflip.
We going along. You know what I mean? But we
that,
appreciate
we
you
got
guys.
food.
yes,
We appreciate you guys rocking with us once again.
Yes.
We will see you next week.
Hello.
Shout out to Tropical Papa who's
Ooh,
not here.
tropical.
He's not here this week or next week, but he'll be back with us soon
Nice.
after that. He had to go out and do a top secret, filming.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
the world will see what he was doing, but we can't tell you. It's a
Right.
secret.
We'll keep it quiet.
So
Don't worry.
SDOT, can you please, baby, please,
Baby.
please,
Why, yes, I can.
please lead
You
us
know.
out with a word of prayer.
So you guys, I just want you all to remember to continue to walk in your truth. Like Dom here said, make sure that you love each other. Love yourselves first and foremost, and just know that you are capable of not anything, of everything. Everything.
Why they got us cutting up? Woo! Why they got us cutting up? Woo!